Hey, everybody. Welcome to Digital Brand Alchemy. I am Richard Pickett. I'm here today with Shel Shapiro, and we've known each other, I don't know, off and on, maybe 6 months. I think, did we meet in the before 2020?
We met probably like 4 months ago, and it was in a live stream on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. You've got better memory than me. All right. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why will people that are watching want to get to know you.
So, hey everyone, I'm Shel, and what I do is I empower women to restructure the way that they work so that they can dominate their jobs and do it in a safe, non-toxic, non-judging environment. And what's really awesome is anyone that's worked with me, anyone that knows me, personal or professional, anywhere in between, they will tell you that I persevere against all odds to get things done. And I do the same, whether it's for myself or for other people. So I'm looking forward to doing that exponentially for anyone else who's interested in gaining perspective and learning how to effectively perform better.
Okay. Awesome. Tell me, what's the most impressive thing that your clients say about you?
Well, like I said, it's really about how I persevere and I don't give up. I have this really innate sense of like stick-to-itiveness that just propels me forward to always get things done, no matter what's in my way. So I'll just find a way to get it done and figure it out. And if I don't know an answer to it, I'm not going to stop until I find someone who knows the answer or I can figure it out for myself.
Okay, cool. So when you've got started, what did you find that came natural for you? It's the easy thing for you that seems to be difficult to other people. Like, what's that one unique thing that really just seems like a no-brainer for you?
What's really a no-brainer for me is figuring out how to put things in order, figuring out what I need to do right now in order to achieve something. And maybe that's a short-term goal, maybe that's a long-term goal, but I'm really good at making that priority list and then determining what needs to have the most priority at that moment.
Awesome. All right, and that is the first three like bullet questions we just want to get out of the way, so that people that are tuning in can see that real quickly, like what you're about. And I've got a couple more questions. Then after that, we're going to kind of do a deep dive into your online brand, some of your online marketing and things like that. So,
deep dive. Let's go. I'm ready.
Alrighty. So next question: what part about growing your brand online have you found the most difficult?
It's been pretty challenging to draw that fine line in the sand, so to speak, of like where I end and my brand begins, because a lot of it overlaps for me, and a lot of it on both sides, personal and professional, have dual meanings. So it's really been hard to separate the two and keep them in different playing fields.
Okay. Who are some of the people outside of your business that you think would be excited to come to the show and be interviewed, have their brand reviewed, etc.?
Oh my God, there's so many people. About 6 to 8 months ago, I worked with a career coach. Her name is Nancy Scher, and she is the founder of Career DNA. And she is just one of the most amazing women that I've ever encountered. And she actually helped propel me forward to figure out what I needed to do and what I wanted to do and what I was really good at. And so I think she would be an asset for anybody in this group or anybody watching to help them get to the next step in their career.
Awesome.
And another person is, this is a little bit of a reach because I have like celebrity blinders on sometimes, but I recently read this book called The Myth of the Nice Girl by Fran Hauser. and she would be amazing in this group and just another strong female asset to anybody who wants to level up. And her book talks about all the ways that women who have a superpower of kindness can dominate in work, and get ahead without having to lower their standards and remove their boundaries. So it's a really good exercise and different practices on how to maintain those boundaries and set your priorities to move forward. So those are two great women, and it would be amazing to have them here.
Yeah, I imagine we'll get into it in just a minute because I have one or two more questions. I imagine Fran, her book probably really resonated with you and really resonates with your driving passion. So
yes, I mean, when I found that book, it was by complete accident. It just happened. I was needing another good read, and it was on the Audible top 20 list, I think, of 2018 to read, and I was like, okay, this sounds good. I like what I'm hearing so far. And then as soon as I started diving in, I had a pen and pencil and paper out, and like I was scribbling notes, I was erasing things, I was just figuring out how I could apply it right then. And so I didn't expect it to resonate so much, and it did.
Awesome. All right, next to the last question, what's the biggest problem that you solve for others?
I think it goes back to all the things that I do really well in general, and that's getting things done. And my previous job, what I saw others struggle with time and time again was not knowing what to do next or how to go about doing it. People are not innate problem solvers. Some people just go with the flow a lot of times, and they figure it out by chance or by accident or just because of like it needing to get done. But that doesn't necessarily mean that things get done well or get done to the best of their ability if people don't know how to plan for things and figure out what's needed, what's not, and where to look for answers. So I think that's the biggest problem overall anywhere, really, is that more people need to know what questions to ask in order to gain perspective and learn so that they can move forward.
Yeah, I think maybe if I could frame that, I would say being intentional. Like people that just go with the flow and just happen to find things, they're not very intentional about this is a problem. I'm going to do whatever it takes to solve this one thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, when I get in that state, I think it's because I just don't feel like that thing's important enough. Like that's my check. I think, man, this thing's been bugging me for a while, or I haven't accomplished whatever. And then I think, okay, well, really, I just haven't cared enough to do that. So maybe I shouldn't do it and just like either give up on it or let's go get it done.
Yeah. I think another thing that keeps people from trying to be more intentional with their whatever it is they're trying to accomplish is that they don't necessarily know what it is they're trying to accomplish. They're just doing things that other people tell them that they have to do. And if they're not really motivated to do those things, yeah, sure, we're going to push them off until the last minute, or we're going to dump them onto somebody else, me, because I'm the person that's going to get things done. But if they don't want to get those things done, then they're just not going to. And so that's a huge problem as well that needs to get solved, because if you're in a job, you should feel motivated to do that job and do it well. You shouldn't just go with the flow and let things happen as they happen. So I hope people can be more intentional and also more transparent with what their goals are.
All right. Last question. Tell me and those that are watching one errata thing about you, something that's very obscure but unique about you that most people wouldn't know.
Oh my God. I feel like I wear my heart and everything else on my sleeve. So I'm like an open book. I don't know what people don't know. Ask me all the questions and I'll tell you. I think that people probably don't know that I love to dance. I think sometimes, especially lately, I'm embarrassed to do it. I might not be as good as I used to be. But dancing and music, and specifically like 90s R&B, hip hop, that's my jam. People don't necessarily know that, but that's what's going to fuel me. Like that's the music, that's the feeling of me getting into the groove to get things done and reframe what I'm thinking.
Awesome. Okay, so that is it for the pre-formatted questions. So now it's open floor. And I usually am able just to go and look at comments that are coming in. But so I use StreamYard to do the interview part where we're joined on the screen. And then from StreamYard, I send it into Restream, and Restream actually sends out to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch for me. And last night, one of their technician guys, he's like, if you're going to be doing these lives all the time, you could just use a persistent key, which I don't want to get into all the complications, but basically I don't have to just keep like creating a new event and then connecting that event back into Restream. I can just use one key all the time. He didn't tell me that when you do that, you can't actually see the chat comments. So so that's why, like, I just ran over to Restream after we got started, and I went ahead and connected up at least the digital brand Alchemy group, so that when people drop in there, if at least I can see that people are watching. Whereas the persistent key one, I can't even tell how many people are viewing, which is really bad for me. And it wouldn't, I'm tempted to go open the video and look and see, if there are comments there, but I know if I do, then I'll hear the sound. It'll be a disaster, and it'll mess with the bandwidth. So I'm kind of stuck right now. If some people can get some comments through, I'll be happy to take their questions and stuff, but I'm kind of thinking on this one, it's not going to happen. Unless most of the people are going to be on Facebook. If you want to just DM me directly in Facebook. I'll check every once in a while on my phone and just see if I have any DMs that are popping up. So I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Technology. All right. So other than taking questions that I can't see, the floor is open. I know yesterday, for everybody that's watching, Shell and I actually tested out a little bit of this live stream. And we took a look at our website, and we had a pretty good conversation. I was like, man, we really just need to hang up now, because I think that would be valuable to put.
Saved it for today, yeah.
Yep. So if you want to start there, or if you have something else on your mind since we talked yesterday, like, I'll leave that up to you.
Let's pull up the site. Let's dive right in. Maybe people will have comments on that, and we can get some questions going that way. And I'm just open for feedback and suggestions. If you have something negative to say, fine, I could take that too. I'm not above learning or making myself better. And this really, my site is not about me. Yes, it's Shell related because that's who I am, but it's not about me. It's about me finding ways to connect with and help other people. So if there's something on my site that you want to see that's not there, tell me that too, because I'm not going to know how to do things better if people don't give me that feedback.
All right. So this is your page.
This is the landing page.
Yep. So now this is, I wanted to start with the other one that we saw yesterday, because for those that are watching, she had what you would call a pretty typical layout with different sections of information. And a couple different ways to opt in. And then when I said the one thing that bugs me about this is it's a lot. So then she switched to this one, but we can still leave it on this one. Like, don't switch your homepage, but can we go back to view the other one? Is there a way to?
If you just put a /home, that'll take you directly to the other one.
All right. So here we go. All right. So, like, I guess I could just scroll the page first and then talk a little bit more about theory.
Yeah.
I'm guessing,
and it's pretty much just a one-page thing. It'll drop down to all the different sections with the exception of the blog.
Yep. So this is a single-page site, and I like the design. Colors are great. I think also we tested yesterday mobile, like just shrinking it down, and it definitely was responsive. So it should look and work well on mobile. You got your cookie disclaimer. So that for those that are watching, we've now scrolled the whole page. So this, so let me back up and give a little bit of theory. So our brain runs off of calories, obviously, and it's a calorie counter. It's part of our biology that the brain calculates how much energy has to get spent in order to do something. And for whatever reason, like it's actually a lot more energy spent to watch a video, but because we're so visual, the brain doesn't calculate that as a lot of spend compared to the amount of information that it gets. So we get stuck like scrolling your news feed or whatever, and the videos capture you versus, a paragraph of text. We like skim it, read, maybe 10 of the words and just keep right on going. But a video will, like even nonsense videos, we will sit there and watch them for minutes, 5 minutes to see how this thing's going to end, instead of reading one paragraph of text that actually may advance our life. It's just the way the brain works. And when you first pop open a page, of course, you've got the term, above the fold. So that's everything that's in the initial view when the page loads. So this is what's above the fold. Yeah. And the brain has to start calculating how much do I have to read before I'm going to understand what this page actually means. Let's get shelled is cute, but it doesn't tell me like what does that mean? What does it mean to get shelled? And I think yesterday one of the things that I mentioned was using it that we put on a shell, but we want to like open the shell up so you get shelled and you get down to the core, like what's really going on the inside. So I think that's a good play. But then again, that calculation starts happening that as you scroll, it's just so much text to read versus a simplified landing page like what Shell ended up putting up here. I still think this is probably a little bit heavy on the text. And the other thing is I would have this opt-in on this page, like right here. Hey, work smarter, empower yourself to be awesome, get started here, give me your name and email address, let's go. You have to give them a compelling reason. I think yesterday you talked about making a PDF or an ebook. And I think there's some value in that.
Sure.
But I think that in that context, though, like I had asked the question, what's the shortest distance from here, where we are now, to that next client of yours? And I think you had started by saying, well, I'm going to make this ebook. And then it sounded like it's going to turn into a long path of a lot of things to go do before you get that next client. And I would want to accelerate that and like shorten that path up. So what's the easiest way to go get the first client without having to write an ebook? Okay, so I did like it that this is a lot less. I still would just have the opt-in, and then the site that I had recommended was this one.
Yeah, there were a few.
Yeah. So did you have a chance to look through this?
I skimmed them. I didn't like look at them too closely, but I skimmed them to see like what was working well. And really, a lot of them were super text heavy, and so I do need to maybe get away from that a little bit more. But it's also finding those right images that resonate exactly with that right group. If I try to use like the images right now, yeah, they convey like empowered women and like they're successful, they're doing well, they're like kicking ass, right? But I also want to draw in the people that are like banging their head against the wall still, and like they're stressed and they don't know where to go. And so then they see this and they're like, oh, well, like I could really use this. But if I try to put up those images, which I have, and I tested them for a week or two, and they frankly, they scared people. People were afraid to click even further because they were scared by those images. And it's not like I went all like woman destroyed, like literally banging her head on the wall, but like had a woman with her, like her head in her hands, or like, they just seemed too dark. So brightening them up and finding those better images that already show the empowerment seems like a better way to go. But on the other hand, I still don't feel like that's conveying the message to people that are going through the problem right now. So I'm trying to find a balance.
Yep. So a lot of times I found that people will identify with where they want to go, not where they are. And so like if we had an image of like freedom and success and enjoying laughter, like happiness, like whatever the end state that people want, that they're looking for, they gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
Let's take you going and dancing. So imagine, I guess if we rewind, like maybe you should just tell me, if we rewind and you go back to the days when you were dancing like the most, what's like in one sentence or one phrase, what did you get out of that? Like when you left, like what had you accomplished? What did that give you?
Release.
Okay.
Stress release.
All right. So imagine like, so that's the way you envisioned, the dance club or whatever. Imagine if all of their advertising was stressed out people, then you would say, well,
Yeah.
that's really not what I'm looking for. But if they advertise like people jumping and excited and they're loose and they're free and they obviously aren't displaying stressful symptoms, you'd be like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And so you'd gravitate towards that. And your responses with the images actually showed that. So
yeah,
having, I definitely recommend using images that display where the people will want to go more than where they are right now.
Okay.
All right. Oh, yep. So back to this. So for those that are watching, I really like Thrive Themes. I use a number of their products for my website. I am a do-it-yourself kind of guy. So, and I'm totally left brain. That means I can write code and stuff like that, but artistic style, like totally not me. And they make it easy for a left brainer like me to actually make a decent looking website. And yes, the website, my website, I do it myself. So I'll take all the credit and all the blame for however good or bad it is. So with this particular article, and I can put it, the link in the show notes or in the comments to where it's live, they went through and they looked at a number of top personal brands and they showed their websites over a period of time. And they used, I'm guessing probably the Wayback Machine, and went and pulled these images. So here's one, Celestine Chua, and her initial site was personal excellence. Notice all the text, like you don't have to try to read it. You can just see, it's like, wow, it's so heavy. And the brain will interpret like that image really quick, and this image really quick, and maybe even that one. But then the text, it just ignores. And actually what most people will do when they see this is they will want to click to somewhere else to learn what this page is about, because the brain calculates and says, oh my God, if I have to read all of this to go figure out what this page is about.
I don't even want to look at it.
Yeah, it's just way too much. Over time, she changed. So she changed her layout some. She had some more video stuff up on the top. So that was easier to engage. It'd be more likely that I would click one of the videos to watch rather than read all the text that she had previously had. And then finally she started settling down, and this became what was above the fold. This looks a lot like what you have here. Obviously the colors and everything, all, the imaging is all different, but in simplicity, it's an image that says I'm a personal brand. It's a statement about what I help people achieve, what you will get, and then a couple call to actions. Now, I have the same criticism for this that I had of yours, and that is this opt-in box is not readily viewable. And by the way, neither is mine on my website, so I'm definitely not throwing stones because I'm living in the glass house. And there, so let me put a pause on that. and emphasize this point that I say all the time, like, don't let perfection be the reason why you're not doing anything. So like here I am, I'm going live. I'm critiquing other people's websites, knowing that I still have things that I want to get done on mine. But if I stopped and waited until I had my website, 100% perfect, and then it's no end. I would have to learn the next thing to make my website perfect, and then I'd have to learn one more thing.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it boils down to. Also, is mine's nowhere near done, but I wanted to have the most bare bones thing that I could put up that people would still hopefully resonate with, because you can't stop. And I'm a perfectionist, and it's probably one of my downfalls. But I always want to make it perfect, and if I want to make everything perfect, it's never going to be ready. So at some point, I just had to cut myself off and say, all right, we're doing this, whether it's ready or not. Here I come. And so it's always about learning and improving, but I'll do that gradually as I progress with it, as it's already out there. Let me get the feedback, let me get the ball rolling with it, and then we can go back and tweak things as needed. Why would I hold myself back from doing the next thing just because I want it to be perfect? It's never going to get there. And then to your same point with having the opt-in there, you'd rather see that right off the bat than having to click on the button and be taken to it? Or, yes. Okay. That's an interesting way to look at it.
So an alternative, let's pull up mine so we can find more things wrong. An alternative, which one of these? Yeah, an alternative that kind of makes it smooth and keeps the page simple.
The pop-up?
Yes, and so like this is really clear what you're going to get. You didn't have to click a button to know that I'm going to put in my name, email address. When you look at mine, you just don't know. And actually, if you click here, you're going to come to the Facebook group. If you click on either of these two, you get one of these pop-up boxes. Okay. So this is a negative. Like I've thought myself about having another section up here that just has an opt-in. And actually, I had another version of this page where I had this section up here was a block similar to a block similar to this, with a video on one side and what you'd get out of it, and then an opt-in to give me your info, and you could get all the episodes that would have all of this information, all of these highlights that I'd put there. So imagine this block just shifted up above here.
Yeah.
And that's a little.
Go ahead. Can you scroll back to the top for me? Like, what's above the fold?
Yep. It's just a statement with no. So yeah, I again, I'm definitely not throwing stones, because my house is definitely made out of glass. Yeah, I don't have it. Instead I went with a large hero image, and you scroll down to find the first thing that you can interact with. Okay. Yep. So and some of this, by the way, is just style and preference. So. And the other thing that we touched on yesterday was measuring. Like, wow, and it's a huge subject. So I'm a huge measurement freak. I love to take measurements and figure out what actually works. So I like A/B testing. So I think you said that you were getting a 4% conversion rate.
Yeah, I think we were like 2.5%, 3%. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. So even a 2% conversion rate on this page is awesome. So for those that don't know what that means, it just means 100 people visit her site. 2 of them will drop their name and email address in. Yeah, and I would want to know which one. Like, is this a pop-up?
No, that just takes you to my
Yeah. So I would want to know which path, like which one of these is working to get the bulk of that 2%. And then I would compare. I would compare this with taking this form and switch this out and compare those two. Like, does this page actually convert better than this one? And then if this page does this version work better than this version? And just see which one works better. And this is like I want to hold myself in check on this. everybody has opinion, including me. An opinion just means that this is the way we think it is, or should be, or should work. It doesn't mean that it actually is, and that's why I really like measurement. So I have an idea, and it's much better to know the process of starting with an opinion, but the process then that leads to the fact. And the fact in this case would be which one of these methods actually converts better. So I would trial them, and I would do enough A/B testing that it was statistically significant to know which one of these actually works better. So I'm giving an opinion, and it could totally be that you A/B test this page versus this page, and you come back to me like in 2 weeks and say this page actually works so much better. Like I switched to this one, even with this opt-in box like plainly displayed on the right-hand side. This page converted at 0.5%, whereas this page converts at 2. So like I would be so happy. Like I'm happy to be wrong because I just want to know what the truth is. I just have an opinion.
Let's get down to the numbers.
Yep. So I love looking at numbers. And that led us to the conversation about Rory Sutherland and Ogilvy. Ogilvy started in marketing way back when, and he built a huge business. Rory Sutherland's one of the top guys that in Ogilvy, which is a UK company. And Rory wrote a book, and I've got the book and I've got the audio. Rory reads the audio, and it makes it so much worth it. And he quotes Ogilvy as saying that people do not think what they feel, they don't say what they think, and they don't do what they say. And all of our purchasing decisions, and actually most of our decisions, are based off of how we feel. So if I feel A, but I think B, because my feeling doesn't control thinking, it's the other way around. And then what I think is different than what I will tell you, like in an opinion poll, or like when you ask your friends, hey, which one of these looks better? Which website design looks better? What I will tell you is what I won't be able to tell you what I'm actually thinking, because we usually don't. So instead, we base everything off of all these misnomers, all these things that are wrong. And the only way to find out what actually really, really works is to put things out there and test it. So it's definitely a science to it. And I'm saying that we talked about this in depth yesterday. I'm saying it more for people that are watching, for their benefit than for yours. Okay, so let's go back to this thing. So Celestine, I think this is actually a good looking design compared to the two previous versions. Like this one totally wins hands down, speeding things along. Then she changed it to this, and this is again, I'm going to tell you what you can get out of our relationship, why you will want to give me your name or email address, and then here, stick it here and click subscribe. And there's not a lot of other things. And when you scroll down, she has her latest post, but they're below the fold. All of this is above the fold. This is very simple. I
gotta say that I like the previous version a little bit better because visually it looked nicer to me. But I appreciate that in that latest version, she purposely like highlights what she wants you to look at, and she makes it so that you can't do anything else. Like you don't want to do anything else, and there's no hesitation. So while this doesn't look as pretty to me as the other one, it's probably way more effective.
Yep. And then for those that are watching, you can go through all these. Gary Vee would typically overloaded his site. He noticed the theme: a simple statement, a large image, stick in your name and your email address. And then here's another one. This particular image is an authority image, where this one is not. This one's kind of like you're thinking he's talking to you at a table. This one, it's pretty clear he's talking to a crowd, which just screams, I've got authority. So then
he's already made it. He doesn't have anything to prove at that point.
Right. And notice with this one, he has a statement. I'm a counterpuncher in a world where everyone wants to be an aggressor. And then here, there's actually no statement, because this image of authority is the statement that says this is who I am or what you're going to get. So get the Hustler's Digest, give me your name and email address. One other one, James Clear. This is a good example. James Clear is very cranial. He's a deep thinker. I've got his book on habits. It's actually really good. It's highly insightful. It has helped me a lot. But his website design is something that I disagree with. Now, it may actually work for him, and this kind of goes back to you just have to measure what works. So here's the next step in measuring what works between your two sites. No, I will stick with James Clear on this example. So James is a cranial kind of guy. He's very thoughtful, very logical. His ideal client or customer, if we would say this is a marketing website to get him customers or to get him, one-on-one coaching as an example, which I don't think it is, but just as that example, the person who's going to read all this and identify with it, those people will love him to death. So he may get a minuscule opt-in rate, and I don't even think he has an opt. Yeah, he does. My email address is down at the very bottom, way below the fold. So let's say his opt-in rate is like 0.5 or 0.1. It's like something ultimately ridiculous. That means like 1 out of every 1,000 or maybe 5 out of every 1,000 would actually opt in. However, once they opt in, then he's giving them content just like this page that's very logical, very thoughtful, deep, thought-provoking stuff. And those people say, oh my God, I found the guy. Like, I want this guy to coach me. He can help me. Versus if he had a page like this, and they opted in, maybe he would get, a 4% opt-in rate, which compared to a 0.1 is like 40 times as many people, but even fewer in actual numbers, not percentage, actually said, hey, I want you to coach me, because his site wouldn't reflect him accurately. So while I wouldn't use this site, it may work really well for him because again, like, what are we measuring? The first measurement is just what's the opt-in rate, true. But then the ultimate measurement is what's my ROI? How many people am I numerically, not percentage-wise, actually converting to customers with this page versus this other one? And that's really the raw number that we want to get to. So sometimes we can get caught up in the analytics on the front end, like getting more visitors or getting more page views. And it's actually a trap. It can lead us in the wrong direction. You still have to stay true to your message.
I mean, right now, and I think we went through this a little bit last night, like, I've got page views. It's been 3-4 weeks max that I've been live and still tweaking this, but that it's been up and running. And okay, I don't have the greatest following. Maybe I have 800 views. That's 800 more than I would have had a month ago. I've got the views. Now I need the conversions. So it's more than just that front end. I want to know what's working to get people in the door. So it's a very A/B testing situation all the time. It's trial and error. It's what works, what doesn't, and that's great for me because I'm never going to stop learning and improving myself. So it's going to be the same for anything that I do because nothing's ever perfect. At least nothing's ever perfect for me. It might be perfect for somebody else looking at it, but nothing's ever going to be perfect for me. So there's always going to be more growth and more learning opportunities.
Yeah, and the big lesson learned is always start where you are, and don't be afraid to just say where you are. So this to me, like, let me step up for a second. Like, digital brand alchemy for me is a way for me to go back to do it yourself and start with zero. So, I do agency stuff. I do, and I'm going to gear up my own marketing. But I've developed a marketing platform, little history, 10 years ago. And over the years, I have a list of 400,000. I don't want to use it, because there's so many people that say, hey, make this product and send out an email. Or actually, that's not what they say. They'll say, make this product and I'll teach you how to make this product, and just think of all the money you'll make. But what they don't tell you is, okay, so you made the product, but now you got to go make an email list or whatever. You got to go do something else to get the audience to see that. You got to know how to market that whatever that product is. And so I could easily leverage 400,000 email list and blow this thing out of the water. I just I don't want to. I have connections, other guys, another guy has 100,000 plus. And I could easily just say, hey, could you send out an email for me? Let people know that I started it. I just don't want to do that. I actually, have enjoyed, like in the first 2 weeks, I built my email list up to 400 people, and I enjoyed all the hands-on that it took to go do that. And to me, that's
Yeah.
valuable.
I mean, you get much more out of it when you do it yourself instead of having somebody else like give you the keys to the kingdom. But there's also a middle ground for me, and I don't know how much it resonates with you, but there's a middle ground for me of like sometimes I just don't want to do it myself. Sometimes give me some of the answers and then I'll find the rest of the way there, but at least like hold my hand and show me which path to go down, and then I'll figure it out for myself, because I love doing things for myself. I'm a very big DIYer, and I want to know how to do it on my own. But show me what that looks like so that I know. You know what I mean? Like I don't. A lot of times I feel like I'm reinventing the wheel because I want to do it all myself. But there's other people that have done all of these things. So give me that bare bones like template of like, what did you do to get there, and then I'll add my own stuff in and make it my own. But I'm still gonna want to do it on my own overall. You know what I mean? But I want that roadmap a little bit. So
I totally identify with that. Putting it like my plan of what you just said for me is, I want this thing to pay for itself. So
yeah,
I'm not taking money from somewhere else and investing in this, because I just want to see what is it like to work from the trenches. And that's one. The other thing is that I think I'm hearing you say that I totally identify with is I may want to outsource this. Like I do all my own video editing right now. And I use Caden Live, and I've had to learn that, and like it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. As a matter of fact, that intro video, I just put that together this morning, because I started where I was without an intro video, like whatever, a week or two ago, and
yeah.
I said, hey, it'd be really cool if I could do this. So like I'm just improving as I go. But I do my own video editing. But what I want, I think, so I know how to do it. So if it comes down to depending on someone else, I'm not held hostage because I don't know how to do something in my own business. I think that would be very bad.
Yeah.
At the same time, once this thing is productive and like, what's the right way? Like once there's income, enough income flow that I can now start outsourcing some of that video editing, I will probably do that because it's very time consuming.
Yeah.
For me, like splitting up Keith's interview, I probably spent 8 hours. That's like a total day. Now it was mixed in with Christmas and stuff like that. So like I felt like I was editing the video all week, but it was like 2 hours, 3 hours here and there. But that's one thing that I would really love, just to give someone else the video. And then the next thing I know, I'm watching all the episodes, get broadcast on social media instead of me doing all that.
You want to get it to a point where it's basically on autopilot, where you can like show someone, okay, this is how I did it, and I want you to be able to do these things for me. Here's what they need to look like. Like here's the outcome that all needs to kind of sync and play together so that they can, keep doing these things. But now I don't have to do them myself because you've set up those systems for somebody else to then take the reins. And I would love to get to a place where things are a little bit more on autopilot, but if something went wrong, I could easily come in and be like, okay, well, I know how to do these things because I set them up. So here's how we're going to fix it. And so in that sense, it's also good to know how to do it for myself before I let somebody else take over. And that's really important to me because it's because it's my brand and because it is so heavily connected to me personally. I want it the way I want it. Let's just like be honest. I want it the way that I want it, the way that I intended it for it to be. And if I just pass that off to somebody right now to say, hey, make my website better, just do it, it's not going to come out the way I want it. It's going to come out the way that they made it. And those two don't necessarily or won't overlap or be exactly the same because it's not my vision. So I'd rather get it going first and then put the power in somebody else's hands.
And another one too, that like going back to like having a plan of how this is done is, I know the value that I bring to my business that's unique from everything else. And it's not video editing. and it's not editing a website. So even though I'm doing those things today so that I know how to do them, so that I'm not held hostage, at the same time, it's excuse me. Oh my goodness, my throat's gotten really dry. It's not the one thing that I do that brings value. So long term, I want to be able to shed those things off so that I can just do that one thing that I need to do and have other people that are doing their other parts. So
Yeah.
All right. Did you after James Clear? Yeah, I think the next one was Marie for Leo. Is that how you say her last name?
I don't want to butcher it. I'm not great with names, but
Okay.
I thought it was Forleo, but I could be
Okay.
I could be completely wrong.
You're probably right. I think this is very similar. Like you can see her iteration again went from information. This is kind of plain but no call to action until you get below the fold. And then it kind of became information heavy. But she did do really good authority with her and Oprah, which is really powerful. Here she's trying to provide value, but again, it's all in text. And then over time, she's transitioned to this. And I think her last time I looked, her site was pretty much the same way. Yep. She walks in, she's got a menu across the top. When you scroll down, it's all really big stuff. She's got links like learn more to go to other places. And some, download now. She's got an app and a TV show. But again, I think the one thing that's missing, and it's my opinion, it may not necessarily be factually true, and this may actually be working for her brand. But there's no like opt-in way. So you got me to your site, I'm here, but now she's not doing a good job, in my opinion, of capturing me to get me to stay. So
Right.
So anyway, we could spend all day looking through all of these different sites, but I just want to share that. I will put this link out so others can see it. All right. So anything on your mind? Any questions? Is there anything specifically like before you leave, like you definitely wanted to cover something very specific? I want to make sure you're taken care of, and I still have some other things in mind, but I just want to make sure. Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about perfecting my site or anything. Frankly, it's not even about making money, although I mean it is, because we need money to do things. But I really just want to connect with people. I want to know what's working for people. I want to know what's not working for people. And I want to know specifically for women why they're banging their head up against the wall in their current job. Like what's holding them back currently from getting to the next level. And that could have to do with productivity or not, but I still want to know where other women, even men, where they're at in their careers. Because I don't think those conversations are had enough. I think it's a lot of different conversations, honestly, that all boil down together. But when it comes to my experiences and what I've been through, after so much time of banging my head against the wall and thinking I was doing a great job doing all these things and being super busy all the time, that was insane. It was insane for me to think that I was doing so many things well and accomplishing things and being productive. And it turned out that somebody that's really good at doing those things, it was horrible. It had horrible effects. And I've since learned from them. I've figured out a way to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I think it's really important that women specifically know that they don't have to have those things happen to them either. And we can hopefully catch them and break them down and figure it out before they get to a point that you're breaking and falling apart. Mental health is really important. Productivity is really important. Leveling up is really important. But having these conversations make those things possible. And so I'm just open to anybody that wants to connect with me to have those conversations. Whether it makes money for you or makes money for me, that's great. That's an added bonus. But I'm going to feel more successful and get more gratification out of just having those connections to know what's going on in people's heads.
So, I want to be sensitive to your privacy, et cetera, but I know that you left your last job because it became, my word, maybe you have a more appropriate one, is it became toxic. And you were a high achiever and accomplishing, and you were delivering a lot of value, but you were being taken advantage of, basically.
That's a great way to sum it up. I think at the crux of it, like while I was falling apart from so much overwork and overwhelm, is I was doing things because other people said that I had to. I wasn't doing things that I wanted to do. I wasn't doing things that made me feel good about myself. I wasn't doing things that helped me progress and level up. And I want that for other people. I don't want women to be in a job where they're just doing the things that they're asked to do if it doesn't resonate with them, if it doesn't help them reach a goal, because it's all about collaboration. You're not just working a job to do the job. You're working a job to reach another goal beyond that. And that's personal and it's also professional, because yeah, you want to do a good job for your whatever company you're working for, but you also want to do a good job for yourself. And so there needs to be that balance. And I didn't have that balance because it was all about what everybody else needed and not what I needed. And so it was a really toxic environment, and I just don't want that for anybody else.
So I really like this value statement. And so just a little note, we're at the 53 minute mark, so that we can go back and you can rewind and listen to the exact words that you use. But I think this like really resonates with, I went through this and I'm never going through that again. And I don't want anybody else to go through it. And I'm here to fight for you. Like, I think these kinds of statements are really powerful because there are people that are in situations that, like when you're thinking, I want to go to the dance club to reduce or release stress, like they're doing that too, only they're not thinking dance club, they're thinking another job or like a mind shift or like whatever.
Yeah.
Framing it in those terms for them, I think is very, very powerful to say, I used to be in this toxic work environment and was taken advantage of, and I left. And now like I want to empower other women for the exact same thing. Being able to make that concise into one or two sentences, your ideal customer will really, really resonate with that.
Yeah, that's really great feedback. Thank you so much for pointing that out, because sometimes I do. Obviously, we're at the 53 minute mark now. I get a little wordy and I get a little excited, and I want to share everything that's going on in my brain. So for you to be able to boil that down for me, it actually is really helpful for me to hear that and see it. At the end of the day, I just don't want anybody else to feel the pain and the struggle and the overwhelm that I felt. And if I can keep somebody else from feeling that, from burning out, from feeling like they didn't know what to do next, then I'm happy to do that, because I at least know that it's bringing some good to someone else what I went through. And yeah, I mean, isn't that why we all do the things that we do that feel fulfilling, is to know that you're connecting with people and helping other people to better themselves? I mean, I hope that's why other people are connecting with me. It's not one-sided. It's got to go both ways. And I love collaborating with people and showing other people what they're capable of if they've lost that.
So I'm a big Simon Sinek fan, and I love I've seen 2 TED Talks that he does. The first, I don't know which one came first, but uh, one of them seemed like it was a larger format than the other one. In the larger format one, that TED Talk is the one that like really clicked with me a lot. And his idea of like starting with why and knowing what your why is help open up to me how a huge aspect of marketing, and that is um, like why statements are really really powerful introductions. So a lot of times people say, hey, what do you do? But we should really think about answering that with why I do it. So hey, what do you do? I help empower people because I was in a really bad situation being taken advantage of, and I stop that from happening to other people. Like I help empower other people so that they don't have to go through that. And it's more of a mission alignment. And this mission alignment, I think, is really, really critical in business and in marketing. And I have 2 examples. I'll just give you one. If you're at the store, you go to a food, what do they call it? Where different vendors set up booths and tables, and they're showing all different types of food. You just happen to run into one guy, and you say, "Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself." And he says, "I'm the guy that when I would go into the grocer and I would look on the label, I couldn't understand what they put on there, and I knew that according to the FDA, they're not actually required to put everything on the label that's in there if it's below a certain percentage." And it was scary for me to think what I'm putting on or in my body could actually be very harmful for me. So I started a company where all of our products, I know what's in them. They're all 100% natural. Um, like you don't even know what this guy sells yet, but whoever hears him make those statements, they're instantly polarized. Some people will say, "Oh, this guy's a tree hugging, grass eating weirdo nut." Oh, great. Like they're never going to want his products. Happy to see you go. Like, I'm glad you think I'm crazy. And the other people will say, oh my God, like that's exactly how I feel. That's what drives me. We are in alignment on our
Yeah.
why. What do you sell? I'm looking for, whatever. And now they want his products. They don't even know what his products are. He may only have, shampoo, um, or maybe just ice cream, but whatever it is, but they know instantly that we're in alignment on this one thing. And I can work with this guy. You're just like me, is another thing. So when you make your why statements, the people that really resonate with that are your ideal customers, they'll resonate with your why, and they'll be aligned with your cause. This makes it easy too for you to rally your own tribe and say, "Hey, I'm going to start a Facebook group, and this is what we do." We're breaking barriers, we're breaking bonds, we're getting women out of toxic workplaces. All these things, and it's all a why alignment more than how you actually do those things or the specific what that you do with them. But starting with why, I think, is very, very powerful in marketing. So why are you motivated will resonate a lot.
Yeah, there's so many why questions. There's so many questions in general, and people just need to be more open to asking those questions. It's those conversations that are the most important and worth having. And it's when people aren't open to having those conversations or asking questions, and they just want the answers given to them. It's not fruitful for me. It's not beneficial, and it's not going to be beneficial for that person either, frankly, because they are just looking for what they want right then. They're not open to any other possibility. And the right client, the right group, the right platform is going to be one that resonates with what I'm doing and why. So let's go. Bring them on.
Yeah, I think too, like when we think about the homepage and like going back to that, I can still see it in my mind. I can pull it up if we need to. The one that Celestine had, where she had her like, this is what I give you, enter your email here. If you had a statement like that, I got burned out in a toxic workplace, and I'm never going to let that happen to anybody else. Like, or I'm here to help you get out of yours. I left a toxic workplace. I'm here to help you get out of yours. Like, this is a very clear why alignment. And I think this, like, again, A/B test it. Let's see, how will this resonate with other people. But starting with why rather than what, because what begins to get a lot of details versus why is more cause aligned. And going back to that Ogilvy and Roy Sutherland, the emotional decision is made out of why, which comes from the amygdala, not from the prefrontal cortex. So it's not logical. It doesn't have language in it. It's all based off of a feeling. And then we use the prefrontal cortex or the logic area to make sense of the decision that's actually already been made. So I love why in marketing.
I've definitely got some ideas as far as what I can test next, in a few different ways based on the samples that we looked at of what I definitely have some things in mind. So I'll be testing them out starting probably tomorrow. Get another variation of it going. Let's see. I'll check in like 2 weeks and let you know what the outcome is. If I see any difference, if one is testing better than another. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that either resonates with you or that you want to see more of, or what's something that I can deliver to you to help in that sense? I don't want, this goes both ways. Again, I keep saying that, but and I hate that it's, probably after an hour before I've even asked this question, but what value would you get out of what I do? Or what can I bring to your business to help you grow?
Yep. So where I'm going is I'm doing coaching. I've got clients. I do agency services mostly right now in LinkedIn, but like Keith he's a good friend of mine. I've known him for many years, but so I have some collaborations like with him going on. There's another guy that I'm meeting next weekend. I met him once already. He's an Instagram marketer. So I'm building out a network. My primary focus is metrics, LinkedIn, email, and like conversion path and business. And I'm looking for other guys to fill in some of these other areas. So really the best thing I guess I could use right now is constant feedback. If you see something, like if you see where I'm going to build basically online marketing presence and brand building, but make it profitable, because I think there's so many coaches and speakers, et cetera, that they're building a personal brand, but they actually don't make any money. And I know how to break that. So this is the thing that I want to take to market, is myself and a network of people that can make that change. Like if your ideal customer or audience is on LinkedIn, then I can totally help you. If they're on Instagram, I want to have a guy that can help you with that. If they're on Facebook, I want to have another person that can help you with that. So as you see what I'm doing, like, don't be afraid to be critical. Say, hey, Richard, like, don't do that. Like, here's where you're making a mistake. This didn't actually provide any value. You wasted our time. Like, why did you talk so long? I do think I do that one too much, like talk too long. So like, I'm still trying to figure out what's my email pattern, as an example. Sending too much email, a long email, a short email. It's like I've got all of these things on my mind that are all around how can I communicate value better? What's the most effective way for me to communicate value?
And I think you've actually cut down on your emails quite a bit over the past month. I think like after your first round of 10 tips, 10 days, I think I was getting like a few a week. And I think maybe now I'm getting once a week or once every other week. So I do notice a shift there. I'm kind of curious where it'll fall, if there'll be like middle ground a little bit. But even just last night, just going through the sign up process and giving you the feedback on that, I think hopefully was pretty helpful for you to be able to solve those issues right away sooner than later. So yeah, I will absolutely give you feedback. It's not critical. It's always meant to make everybody better. So
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate, by the way, you taking the time last night to go through it. Yeah, for those that are watching, she went through the process of signing up to be a guest, and I was like, "Hey, I've got this whole process. I'm a process guy. I've got this whole process built out. Can you check it out? Is it smooth? Does it make sense? Where are the hangups?" Because I want to have more guests. Like that's why I asked you, and I wrote down some names, Nancy Scher, specifically, about like having an easy process for getting people on the show, and have them go live and provide value.
Yeah, and specifically for Nancy as well, I know she's looking to. Right now she does one-on-one coaching, and I know she is looking to expand into group coaching and explore that avenue. So I think that's just another reason that this could be very beneficial for her to grow her business as well. But she definitely provides a wealth of knowledge and information to whoever utilizes her. She's great at helping you like figure out what your strengths and your values are that you can then bring to the table and use to leverage yourself. So I think it'll go both ways if you can get her on here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do an intro.
I would love to do that. I think she's skiing right now, so when she returns,
Okay.
Then I can definitely, when she comes back down the mountain, I'll make an introduction.
All right, that sounds awesome. So is there anything else that you'd like to cover? Any questions?
I think we've covered so much. I mean, maybe let's do it in another episode a little bit down the road so that we don't overwhelm people with the information. But I think this is a good starting point. This is we've already obviously started, but like this is a good moving forward point, because people have different things that they can act on now, and also things that they can comment on for both of us if they want to give us feedback. So I aim to not overwhelm too much with my long spiels, but I think we're at a good breaking point.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for coming on and letting me go through your website. I'm looking forward to your A/B testing and finding out like what actually works, and how much my opinion lines up or doesn't line up with reality. Because one way or the other, I'll learn from that. So thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be on. Hopefully people get value out of this, and I look forward to doing another one with you soon.
Alrighty.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, Shell.
Bye.